Hello, welcome to the Red Planet Project channel. If you are thinking about the future of Mars and wondering what humanity might look like on the red planet, you are in the right place. On this channel, we talk about science, technology, and speculation related to the terraforming of Mars and space exploration. In today's episode, we will talk about how to bring Mars to life, how to turn a dead planet into a place full of life, plants, animals, and entire ecosystems. Can we really turn Mars into a green planet? Will life from Earth survive on another planet? And if so, how will it change there? Let's begin. Mars is a dead planet today. It is a desert without water, without air, and without life. But that can change. If we create an atmosphere and raise the temperature, we can take the next step. A step that brings Mars closer to what we call home on Earth. We are talking about a biosphere, a system of life that sustains itself, one that allows plants to grow, animals to live, and people to breathe. On Earth, creating a biosphere took billions of years. On Mars, we don't have that much time. We have to speed up the process and do it in several stages. The first step will be microorganisms. They will prepare the ground for all the life that may one day appear on the red planet. We will start with cyanobacteria. These are one of the simplest forms of life, but extremely important. They produce oxygen and can survive in harsh conditions. On Earth, billions of years ago, they changed the atmosphere. Maybe they will do the same on Mars. But cyanobacteria alone are not enough. We also need soil bacteria. They will help turn barren Martian rock into fertile soil. Soil that can retain water and be a source of nutrients for plants. These bacteria will build humus, fix nitrogen, and create an environment where life can develop. Today, scientists are testing such solutions on Earth. In projects like Biosphere and Melissa, we are learning how to create closed ecosystems that can work without human assistance. And thanks to genetic engineering, we can design microorganisms that will be able to survive even in the conditions of Mars. When the soil on Mars is ready, we can move on to the next step. It's time for plants. But they can't be ordinary plants that we know from Earth. We need species resistant to conditions that don't exist here. To drought, to low temperatures, and to weak light coming from a distant sun. Mars is farther from our star, less energy reaches it. Plants will have to adapt to these new challenges. Perhaps the first plants will be genetically modified varieties. Thanks to CRISPR technology, scientists can alter the DNA of plants so they can cope better in harsh conditions. We can make them more resistant to cold. We can increase their ability to perform photosynthesis with weak light. We can even strengthen their cell structure so they can deal with the dust that constantly swirls in the Martian atmosphere. One of the candidates for the first plant on Mars is Arabidopsis thaliana. It's a small, inconspicuous plant. But it was the first plant organism whose genome was fully mapped. Today, it is already being tested in simulated Martian soil conditions. It's an ideal model organism for scientific research. But this is just the beginning. Scientists are also thinking about growing algae. Algae grow quickly and are highly efficient. They can produce oxygen, and they provide proteins that can be used as food. Algae could be the first step in creating a system that feeds the colonists. Plants are not only a source of oxygen and food, they also help maintain the stability of the ecosystem. They produce moisture, they stabilize soil composition, they help recycle organic waste. Farming on Mars will look different from farming on Earth. At first, plants will grow inside special domes. These will be closed systems that protect them from cosmic radiation and low temperatures. Inside the domes, there will be solar panels, life support systems, and water reservoirs. In the future, when the atmosphere on Mars becomes denser, it will be possible to grow plants in the open air. There may be Martian forests, huge plantations of energy crops, and farmlands that provide food for entire colonies. Plants will have to be different from those we know. Perhaps they will have darker leaves to better absorb light, or their roots will be deeper to better search for water in dry soil. What today seems like science fiction may become everyday reality in the future. A green Mars is no longer just a dream, but a possible goal. But flora alone will not be enough to create a true ecosystem. The next step will be animals. Without them, the biosphere will not be complete. What animals could live on Mars? And when could that even be possible? Animals are crucial for the stability of any ecosystem. They regulate plant populations. They maintain biological balance, and their presence makes it possible to create more complex food chains. On Mars, introducing animals will be an enormous challenge. It's not a task for the early stages of terraforming. We need to be sure that the atmosphere is dense enough and the conditions are stable. That's why animals will only appear at a very late stage in the construction of the Martian biosphere. We will probably start with the smallest organisms. Insects may be the first animals to reach Mars. For example, bees. Their role in pollinating plants cannot be overestimated. Without them, many species wouldn't be able to survive. Other insects will also appear, helping to decompose organic matter. This will create a closed life cycle that maintains the balance of the entire system. Once the ecosystem is more stable, it will be time for larger animals. These could be fish that populate Martian bodies of water, birds that help disperse seeds, and later, small mammals. These animals will need to be properly adapted. Mars is a harsh environment. Lower gravity will affect the development of muscles and bones in animals. They may become lighter, more elongated, or move in ways that are different from what we know on Earth. Cosmic radiation will be another problem. Animals will need to be protected or adapted to live in conditions with higher radiation. We may use genetic engineering to create new breeds of animals. Animals that can live and reproduce on Mars without human assistance. Modifications could include stronger bones, the ability to process lower levels of oxygen, or changes in metabolism. In the future, completely new species may emerge. Animals that have never existed on Earth. New forms of life that will arise from evolution in a different environment. Mars could become a place where a completely separate fauna evolves, different from anything we know. But introducing animals to Mars isn't just about science, it's also about ethical questions. Do we have the right to bring life to another planet? Are we sure we won't destroy something that we haven't discovered yet? One thing is certain, animals on Mars are not science fiction. It's a future that may happen sooner than we think. If we succeed in settling Mars with plants and animals, what will happen next? Will life brought from Earth remain the same? Or will it start to change, adapting to a new world? Mars is a planet that presents completely different challenges than Earth. Lower gravity, higher radiation, and a completely different climate may cause life to evolve there in ways we do not yet understand. Lower gravity means less pressure on muscles and bones. Animals may become larger, more elongated, or develop entirely new ways of moving. Plants may take on completely different shapes. Their leaves might become larger and darker to absorb as much light as possible. New colors and structures may appear. Cosmic radiation will accelerate mutations. Evolution on Mars could be much faster than on Earth. In a short time, species may emerge that would never have gone through this process on our planet. Martian life will have to be more resilient. There may be organisms that are able to survive in conditions that are deadly for terrestrial life. Some animals might develop new protective mechanisms against radiation. For example, additional layers of skin or natural shields made of heavy metals accumulated in their bodies. Plants may produce substances that allow them to survive in soil rich in iron oxides. The entire ecosystem will have to adapt to low atmospheric pressure and the lack of a natural magnetic field. Future generations of people living on Mars may also change. Their bodies will adapt to life in lower gravity. Perhaps they will be taller and slimmer. Their skeletal and muscular systems may be completely different. In the future, entire communities of Martians may appear, differing from people who remain on Earth. Mars could become a place where a completely new form of life arises. Life that is the result of natural evolution, but also human engineering. It's a vision that is both fascinating and raises questions. Should we influence the evolution of life on another planet? Are we ready for what might develop there? But there is another possibility. That Martian life will start to cooperate with humans in a completely new way. Imagine organisms designed to live in symbiosis with colonists. Plants that not only provide oxygen and food, but also produce medicinal substances that protect against radiation. Animals that, thanks to modifications, could provide people not only with food, but also with building materials. For example, fur that insulates against the cold, or skin that can be used to make protective clothing. Perhaps intelligent organisms will be created that react to changes in the environment faster than humans. Or bacteria that automatically purify water and soil from toxins. This could be the key to human survival on Mars, not only adapting humans to the planet, but also creating new life forms that cooperate with people. Bioengineering could open the way for Martian symbionts, organisms that grow on the outer walls of buildings, absorbing carbon dioxide and producing oxygen. Maybe even helper animals adapted to work in Martian colonies. The ecosystems of Mars in the future may not only be wild nature, but also an integrated part of human settlement infrastructure. Is it still nature or already technology? It's hard to say. But one thing is certain. Mars is a chance to create life from scratch. Perhaps life that is better than what we know from Earth. Reviving Mars is a huge challenge. It's a task that could take hundreds or even thousands of years. But it's also a vision that inspires and opens up new possibilities for humanity. We can create an entirely new world, a world that becomes a second home for people, a world that has its own plants, animals, and maybe completely new forms of life. Mars is a chance to start over, to create a biosphere that is better, more balanced, and tailored to the needs of future generations. But it is also a responsibility. We must decide if we are ready to influence life on a planetary scale. Should we reshape Mars according to our needs, or should we allow it to remain as it is? What do you think? What plants or animals would you like to see on Mars? Or maybe you have your own idea for creating the perfect Martian biosphere. Share it in the comments. Subscribe to the Red Planet Project channel if you want to explore with us the next stages of Mars terraforming and the future of humanity in space. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.